Hi, good afternoon. If you haven't met me yet, my name is David Bidichoso. I'm a senior high school teacher of Cabarugis National School of Arts and Trades. This video is all about our second lesson for oral communication in context. Kindly share this video to your classmates so that they can watch me to kindly share this video to your classmates so that we can do the live stream already for our lesson for the module 2. As we go through our live stream today, I'm requesting you to have your modules with you so that we can read together the lessons that we're going to have for today. Kindly comment down below the names of the students who are already watching so that I can recognize you while we wait for your classmates to join us. Let's have a recap of what we discussed last time. Last week, we talked about the nature, process, and elements of communication. And we have discussed the importance of communication. We have enumerated the functions of communication. We also tried to answer some of the questions that are present in your module. I would like to inform you that the modules are on its way to us. Maybe we are going to check the modules this week, hopefully. And I'm looking forward to select the best outputs from the comic strips that you made for those who are able to submit. For this week's lesson, we're gonna be focusing on the models of communication. Are you ready now? Please do not forget to hold your modules right now. Shout out to all of the students who are watching. Kindly share this video to your classmates. Francis May Morgo, Grade 11 Amber, Joyce Pascual. Hello. I'm very much excited to talk about our lessons for this afternoon. I have conducted a little bit of research on the concepts related to it so that I can give justice to our lesson. This morning, I was able to give you already the notes for our lesson. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I wasn't able to do live this morning because I feel sick for the past days and I'm still recovering. And I hope that everything will be better soon. And for everyone, I want you to be careful, keep safe, do not go out that much. If possible, stay at home while you do your studies. Yes. Yes, Diane, thank you. Yeah, because of the weather, I think so. Let's just wait for a moment for the others to come so that they can join us before we give it a full blast for our lesson this afternoon. Happy October, everyone! We're already on our second week for our school year 2020-2021. Shout out to all the grade 11 students out there. Hello, how are you guys? KJ Sagaw, hi. Angeline Salamanca of grade 11 Crystal, hello. As we go through our lecture this afternoon, please have with you your modules because there are some reading activities that we're going to do. You read with me and we understand together. Together, we learn, relearn, and unlearn things, okay? Okay. Hi from Aquamarine. Hello, Aquamarine. Hello, Amethyst, Amber, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, Onyx. Together forever. So I was saying earlier, last week we talked about the different elements, nature, and process of communication. We have learned that communication is very important in our lives, correct? We develop relationships, we build trust, we develop our confidence while we speak with others, right? We learn things from them, we understand them. So these are some of the important points about communication. So this week, we're going to be moving forward with another topic. We're going to talk about the models of communication. But before we proceed, let me present first to you our objectives for this lesson or module. After going through your module, this week you are expected to, number one, differentiate the various models of communication, explain the process of communication through the elements involved, and recognize the importance of the models in understanding the communication process as applied in everyday life. So these are the three main focus of our module this week. And there are activities to be done. Don't you worry. I will be helping you out on how we are going to complete the tasks that are in this module. Are you ready? If you are ready, then let's start with our lesson this afternoon. Good day, everyone. In the first part of your module, there is a part called What I Know. In this part, you are expected to answer 15-item tests that would determine your prior knowledge about the models of communication. So these are questions that are basically will be discussed in this module. I hope that you already answered these questions. Yes? Okay. After that one, we start with what's in. On page 4 of your module. Kindly open your modules on page 4. Okay. There is a drawing on page 4. There are two individuals in it. A woman and a man. Both of them are holding mobile phones and they are having a conversation using their cell phone. Communicating with others takes us to a new experience. We're either the ones starting the conversation or the ones receiving the message. Communication is indeed very important because it bridges us a gap between others. For example, distance. You, as a son or a daughter, you have a mother working abroad using the cell phone. With internet connectivity, you are able to communicate to them. Having said that, indeed, communication bridges the gap between individuals. One as the sender and the other one as the receiver of the message. In the previous lesson, just like what I said earlier, we talked about the functions, nature, and process of communication. Let us recall the different things that we discussed last week. Let's turn your modules on page 5. Okay, in here, there is a box with 10 words written in it. We have behavior, communication, decoding, interact, message, motivates, non-verbal, receiver, sender, and written. Below this box, there are sentences in a paragraph or in paragraphs. We are to complete the thought of these paragraphs by using the words that are written in the box. Let's start with number 1. Blank is the process which follows a certain procedure. What do you think is this one? Kindly comment down below. What do you think is the answer for number 1? Correct, Joyce Pascual. That is communication. The clue word there is, it's a process. We talked last time that the word communication ends with ION. So definitely it is the process. And we discussed that one. Definitely you'll get that one. It's easy. Number 2, communication occurs between 2 or more people. The blank or source of the information, what do you call that one? It is the source of the information. What's the word to be used there? It's sender. Correct, Joyce. Next, number 3. The source of blank, the source of information, that's number 2. And the blank, you have receiver. Correct. Correct. Number 3 is receiver. It can be articulated. Very good, Joyce. It can be articulated through blank or spoken words. What's the answer for number 4? Correct, Happy Virus. It can be articulated through written or spoken words. You got it right. It can also be expressed through gestures, facial expressions, or actions which are blank or words not needed to understand what one means. What's that? That is... What's the answer for number 5? Kindly comment down below. Correct. That is non-verbal. Correct. KJ. Correct. You are right. Joyce, you are right. Number 6. Blank is the process of interpreting. The clue phrase here is process of interpreting. What do we call the process of interpreting? A message received. That is decoding. Correct. Number 7. Blank of the source by the receiver. What's the answer for number 7? Correct. Message of the source by the receiver. The encoded message of the source by the receiver. Communication also functions to control what? I think we had this one as an example in the pictures last week. It controls behavior. When the teacher presented the rules inside the class, the main function of it was to control the behavior of her pupils. It blank or encourages people to live better. The clue word here is encourages. What do you think among the words in the box has the same meaning with encourages? Correct, Diane. That is motivate. Correct, Joyce. Encourages people to live better than and allow individuals to blank with others. What's that one? 2. What's the answer? Kindly comment down below. Correct. Interact. Oh, I think you really mastered our lesson last week because you were able to answer these sentences. You were able to complete the answers for the word pool. So that's just a jump start of our lesson for this week. Well, we just tried to remember, the lessons that we had last week. Alright, let's continue. Okay, what is new? In here, there's a short story written by Ma'am Divina P. Maming entitled The Glitch. We are going to read this one together, and later on, we're going to answer the questions below. Okay? Are you ready to read with me the story, The Glitch by Ma'am Divina Maming? If yes, kindly hit the like button. If yes, kindly hit the like button. If you are with me right now, kindly hit the like button. And we read together the story, The Glitch by Ma'am Divina Maming. So there are 8 students who like it already. Okay, hello Mark. 9. Hit the like button if you are ready. 10. Okay, let's start. The Glitch by Ma'am Divina Maming. The La Cruz family came together for breakfast. Each had his or her own story to tell about his or her experiences for the week. This is the usual scenario every Sunday morning. Good morning, kids, greeted the mother who had just finished setting the table for 5. Tonyo and Maria could not wait to reach for their chairs with a big grin on their faces as they said, "Good morning, Nanay." Griselda walked out from her room, still sleepy, her hair unkept, her sleepwear on, but appeared equally thrilled as her siblings shared the table with their mother. "Nanay, I can smell the aroma of your best delicacy adobo," she remarked. "Yeah, I know. It is the favorite of the family, so adobo is what I prepared today," she answered. Griselda replied, "I can't wait to taste it." Mancardo, the man of the family, is a clerk in one of the rural banks in the town. He was talking to somebody over the phone. His voice echoed excitement, but later on, his positive mood gradually vanished. As he turned towards the table, he shrugged his shoulders for disappointment. "Let's eat," Mother exclaimed, wanting to turn the situation around. But everybody seemed to have been overwhelmed by their father's silence. It was the first time they saw him in a really low spirit. "What happened?" At last the wife asked. "I may lose job," he said with a croaky voice. "But why?" Aling Terry was surprised, and so were the children. She quickly walked towards him and pat his shoulder. "It's okay. You can still find another job," she said, offering him a seat. Next page. The children also let their father feel their support as they smilingly uttered, "Tatay, don't worry. We are here to help." "Yes, we will assist Nanay in selling fish in the market after school hours," Tonyo said. "Maybe we can add vegetables to sell too for additional income," Maria added. Griselda, on the other hand, volunteered to do the home chores. "Thank you, my dear children," was all Aling Terry could say. Mancardo was moved by his family's gesture. He was not expecting for such an all-out support. He felt good about it. He started asking his kids about their activities in school and how they fared in their subjects. Each of them excitedly told his own story. Cristelda declared, "I got highest score in math, so my teacher rewarded me with a bar of chocolate." Tonya then mentioned about their project in science, which could eliminate food smell, and everyone poked fun at it. They asked him whether they could try the product to see if it would really work. Maria spoke about their field trip to the town's historical heritage and talked about what she learned from it. Exchanges of stories persisted until someone gave Mancardo a ring. The ringing lasted for some seconds, and finally he stood up to answer the call. As he returned to the table, he was smiling. He was informed that the retrenchment was not for him. It was a mistake. Now the glitch is fixed and he is to report to work the next day again. All of them could not contain their happiness, and so they sat down again to eat all together. "We will go to the church after breakfast as usual," Mancardo sighed with relief. The Glitch by Mom Divina P. Maming. Okay, I like this story. Do you like it too? It's like unusual Filipino setting, a breakfast in a Filipino family, right? In the morning, you would smell the aroma of adobo. I love adobo. Who among here loves adobo? I really love adobo, especially pork adobo. Okay, now we are ready to answer the questions. Are you ready with your pens so that we can answer all together the questions here? I also like chicken feet, Diana. Okay, let's start. What are the different communication scenarios in the story? So, let's try to remember what are different communication scenarios in the story. I'll give you one. When their mother prepared the breakfast and she greeted their children or their family having the breakfast. So that's one communication scenario. Another scenario, when the kids started talking about their experiences in school. That's another communication scenario. When Mang Cardo received a phone call from their bank company. That's another communication scenario. Okay? Now let's continue. How did each communication scenario develop? So this question would like to ask how it progressed, how the communication progressed in one of the scenarios. Okay, let's pick the scenario when what's the name of the mother? Aling Terry, I think. Yes. Aling Terry, right? Am I right? Aling Terry is the name of the mother? Yes, okay. I'm just trying to test. Aling Terry started the conversation by greeting her children by saying, "Good morning, kids." The kids responded, "Good morning, nanay." So they all went out to join the family for the breakfast. And then they discussed things about life, about their experiences in school. And then they received a phone call or Ma'am Cardo received a phone call. Okay? Number 3. Did a conflict arise in the story? What's the answer? Yes or no? Was there a conflict in the story? Yes. Correct. A conflict, they received a message or a phone call informing them that the father was fired from the work. What kind of conflict is it? It's an external conflict. Did it affect the communication process? Of course, it affected the communication process. The mood of the family, from being very happy, it was turned into, sadness. Was it resolved? Yes, it was resolved. How? They received another phone call informing them that it was just a glitch, a mistake. How did the rest of the family members react to it? Well, the family members, the children specifically, they tried to comfort their father by stating things to support their mother to find for additional income to cope up with the family needs. That's how they reacted to it. And when another phone call came, the family was very happy when they were informed about the mistake of Mang Cardo's fate in the job. How can we establish a good communication? To establish a good communication, you have to consider the receiver of the message. You have to consider the channel to be used. Shall you do it verbally? Are you going to say it in words or you're going to write it down? What is the importance of communication in our daily life? Well, I think we already know what's the answer for this question. What's the importance of communication in our daily life? It helps us to connect with people. It helps us to understand their feelings, even our feelings as well, when we do interpersonal communication and intrapersonal communication. So I think we're done with this one. Now, let's continue. Let's move on with the models of communication. Okay? to understand others. Correct. Am I too fast or am I too slow? Let's continue now with the models of communication. Sir Dave, what do we mean by models of communication? Communication models are systematic representations of the process which helps in understanding how communication works can be done. These are symbolisms, these are illustrations of how communication happens. So there are three models that we're going to talk about: linear, transactional, and interactive models. Okay? So let's start first with linear model of communication. Please turn your modules on page 8. Are you done? Are you ready now? Okay. It says there that linear communication is one way, focusing on the transmission of a message to a receiver who never responds or has no way of responding to the information received or conveyed. An example of this is when you try to communicate to somebody and you get no response at all. Okay. An example of a linear model of communication is the Shannon-Weaver model. In the information that I have provided you this morning, I would like to cite my reference. I use businesstopia.net for supplementary information for our discussion this afternoon. Shannon-Weaver model. Okay, let's start with Shannon-Weaver. It's an example of a linear model. Shannon-Weaver model was made based on the businesstopia.net. It was created in 1948. But in your module, it was stated that it was created in 1949. We'll just follow, okay, the module that you have. Since it was given to us, then we need to adopt it. They said that it was published 1949, so we stick to it. But in my research, it says that it is 1948 when Claude Elwood Shannon wrote an article, Mathematical Theory of Communication, that was published in the Bell System Technical Journal with Warren Weaver. So there are two proponents of this model. Number one, Claude Elwood Shannon, and the second one, Warren Weaver. So Claude Elwood Shannon and Warren Weaver, they are the proponents of the Shannon-Weaver model. In your module, it says here that it is an example of linear type of communication. It is considered as the mother of all communication models. Okay, let's try to pose with that one. Why do you think that this model is considered as the mother of all communication models? What do we mean by that? What characteristic of a mother can be attributed with this model? What do you think? Well, basically, a mother gives birth, right? A woman can only be considered as a mother when she gives birth to a child. Now, if we try to put it in the context of communication, Shannon-Weaver model started or gave birth to all the other communication models. It served as the foundation for researchers to construct more models about communication. So that's why Shannon-Weaver model is considered as the mother of all communication models. On page 9 of your module, we have there an illustration. Figure 1, Shannon-Weaver model. We have there source, transmitter, channel, receiver, destination. And we have there at the bottom part, noise. Okay. It says here, as you can see, that Shannon-Weaver is a one-way. There is no feedback. So it means that when a message was transmitted to a receiver, it means that it's done. Done deal. The communication took place already. So that's how that's in a simpler sense of Shannon-Weaver model. But for us to dig deeper about it, we use here in Shannon-Weaver model, well, let's try to put in context, try to consider the context. When we say consider the context, the time when this was made. Let's try to go back to the time of 1949. Definitely before, they, in that time, if I'm not mistaken, they were developing telephones. So in here, the transmitter there, for example, was a telephone. And they're just trying to do transmission of the signals. Maybe like they were using binary codes. They transmit the message to using a machine, and then it is received by the destination. So that's it. This model is more technological than other linear models. There's no way for us to get a feedback in this model. Another example of this one, for example, TV. Okay, in TV or in there's announcement given in a television. Then the sender of the message from the screen won't be able to get the response of the person watching the TV. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit dizzy right now. Okay. Nevertheless, let's continue. So, Shannon-Weaver model, in a simpler sense, one-way communication model. Proponents, Claude Elwood Shannon and Warren Weaver, 1949. It uses transmitter or machines. There's no feedback. So those are the important features of Shannon-Weaver model. Okay? Let's move on. Let's continue with the next model. We have the interactive model. Interactive model. In here, the important element of interactive model is they included feedback. They included feedback in the communication process. All right. Let's try to look at the example. Let's extract Griselda and her mother's dialogue from the story. Griselda, I'm on page 10 of your model. Griselda, Nanay, I can smell the aroma of your best delicacy adobo. Aling Terry, yeah, I know. It is the favorite of the family, so adobo is what I prepared for today. Griselda, I can't wait to taste it. Okay. Griselda started the conversation with, Nanay, I can smell the aroma of your best delicacy, adobo. The mother replied, there's a feedback there. Yeah, I know. It is the favorite of the family. That statement alone is the feedback. Okay, that's the response of the mother with what she received. So there is an interaction that's happening between the sender and the receiver. And on the latter part, Griselda said, I can't wait to taste it. So there is a feedback given to the mother. Okay? So that is an interactive model. An example of the interactive model is the Schramm model. Okay. Schramm, the complete name of Schramm is Wilbur Schramm. That's it. That is Wilbur. Wilbur Schramm. In 1954. According to Schramm communication model, communication is circular and the sender and the recipient of the message can be the same person. Okay, so here is the explanation of the Schramm model. Schramm visualized the process of communication as an exchange of thoughts and ideas. Feedback was added to the Shannon-Weaver model. The recipient of the message, okay, so wait, going back. The important element of Schramm model or the interactive model is the feedback. Do not forget that one. Feedback was added into the Shannon-Weaver model. Okay? So, when Wilbur Schramm discovered that there has to be a feedback in the communication models, he included it and he created the model Schramm model, an example of interactive model of communication. Okay, are you good with that? The recipient of the message decodes it and creates a feedback based on his understanding of the information sent and vice versa. Okay. So in here, it explains the flow of communication. Correct, Joyce. Encoding is when an idea or information is translated into words and expressed to others. Encoding is when we write a message. It's when we think of a message and utter it with our mouth. That is encoding. Right now, I'm trying to encode the thoughts that I have here, and I'm uttering it. That is encoding. On the other way around, while you understand the things that I'm saying right now, that act is what we call as decoding. Okay? Encoding, it's when you create a message, while decoding is when you interpret, understand, analyze the message that you are hearing or you are reading. Are you all good with that? Do you have questions about that one? So the important elements of interactive model, we have feedback, and the second one, we also have encoding and decoding. Another thing, do not forget the proponent of Schramm model, that is Wilbur Schramm. What year? 1954. Okay. It says here, the process goes on, starting from the sender, who encodes the message transmitted to the receiver, which he interprets, decodes a message, feedback to be sent back to the source, with who in turn decodes and interprets the information sent. So it's a circular model. Okay? Okay, if you don't have any question, let's proceed with transactional model of communication. But before we proceed to the discussion of transactional model of communication, I would like to present to you a statement by a researcher named Paul Watzlawick. Paul Watzlawick. He once said that you cannot not communicate. What do we mean by that, Sir Dave? You cannot not communicate. Well, if you ask me what is my interpretation about that statement of Paul Watzlawick, it means that even silence is a form of communication. When you choose not to respond with somebody with words, your action itself speaks a message to that person. Because communication is part of our human identity. We are social beings. Silence itself is a form of communication. That's why I agree with what Paul Watzlawick said. He said that you cannot not communicate. Okay, just an information for everybody. Transactional model was designed or made by Paul Watzlawick and Dean Barnland. Let's proceed with our discussion. Transactional model of communication is the exchange of messages between sender and receiver, where each take turns to send or receive the message. Sir Dave, what do we mean by that? If in the Schramm model, there is a feedback, what was emphasized in transactional model of communication are the following. First, the sender and receiver simultaneously play the role of being the sender and the receiver. The sender of the message becomes the receiver of the message. The receiver of the message also becomes the sender of a message. That is what we mean by the transactional model of communication. As you can see here in the illustration on page 12, the figure itself, you can see there the communicator sends and receives the message, while communicator on the right side also says here that they send and receive the message. Another important element of the transactional model of communication is that there are factors affecting the flow of communication in this model of communication. What are these factors? We have, number one, the noise. You can see there in that illustration the presence of noise. Noise here, this can be environmental noise or communication barriers. Environmental noises can be physical noise, psychological noise, physiological noise. Okay? Psychological, something it's in the mind. Physical, something in the body. While environmental noise, it pertains to the noise that we hear in our surroundings while we talk or while we have our conversations. Okay? Okay. Another element that is emphasized in the transactional model of communication is the field of experience. Sir Dave, what do we mean by the term field of experience? Well, field of experience is where the person is in line with, the sender of the message is in line with. For example, I am a medical doctor. When I use medical terms to communicate with my fellow medical doctor, they can understand the medical terms that I am using because we are both from medical field. We are both in line with medical field. While on the other hand, if this field of experience, you don't have the same field of experience, it comes that what happens then is that there's a barrier between the sender and the receiver of the message. Example, I'm a medical doctor. I will talk to somebody who is not in line with medical terms. They are not aware of medical terms. Example, epistaxis. The boy is suffering from epistaxis. Something like that. Well, when I'm talking to a kid, he might be like, what do you mean epistaxis? I don't know what is epistaxis. Epistaxis is a medical term for nosebleed. So that is how field of experience affects the flow of communication. Are you all good with that? So those are the things that are, or elements that are important, that are necessary in understanding the three communication models. Let's have a review. Number one, linear model. Linear model is what? What are the things that you can remember? Transactional model is when we interact. Yes. When we interact with people. There is a feedback in transactional model of communication. The difference only with transactional and interactive model of communication is that in transactional model of communication, the role of the sender and receiver is simultaneously played by the sender and the receiver. While in interactive model of communication, what is emphasized there is the presence of feedback. Okay? Let's have a review. Linear model, it is a one-way communication model. It doesn't have a feedback. Okay? And they use transmitter. An example of linear model we have, what's that? Shannon and Weaver model, correct? By Claude Elwood Shannon and Warren Weaver. What year? 1949. One way. They made use of transmitters. Mother of communication model, Shannon Weaver model. An example of linear model. Okay? Next, we have interactive model. We have the Schramm model by Wilbur Schramm. What year is Schramm model again? I forgot. That is 1954. 1954. Okay, correct. And it was emphasized there the presence of feedback. We also have the third one, transactional model of communication. We have, what are the important elements of this one? Who are the proponents? We have Paul Galloway and Dean Barnland. Dean Barnland. Okay, what are the important elements? They have what? Field of experience. Field of experience is a factor affecting the communication process. We have, correct. We have, what else? The role of the sender and receiver plays, or it is simultaneously played by the sender and the receiver. They also emphasize the presence of noise, the different types of noise: environmental noise, physiological noise, and psychological noise. All these factors affect the flow of communication. That is according to the transactional model of communication. By the way, before I forget, the references that I'm using in this part of the module are business2p.net, herotool.com, and I would like to cite Professor Dr. Alex Lyon, the communication coach, a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to him. Thank you very much po for the information that you shared to me. And now let's move on with your module. Okay, let's start. On page 13, okay, you can see here a task. Directions in Venn, okay, let me check. It should be Venn-Euler diagram because there are two proponents of this diagram. That is Venn and Euler. E-U-L-E-R. Venn-Euler diagram. In the Venn-Euler diagram below, show the similarities and differences of the three communication models. Okay, let's start answering. Are you with me? So draw first three big circles. You label them linear, transactional, interactive models of communication. Okay, so are you done? Okay, at the center part, at the innermost part of this diagram, what is common about these three? You write all the elements that are common in these three models. Enumerate, what are these? Well, it's specified in your module, the different elements of these models. Now, try to compare which one is the same. When do we use the word transmitter? Is it only in linear model? Yes, I think so. What about field of experience? Where am I going to write field of experience? Will I write it at the outermost part for transactional model? What about Warren Weaver? Where will I write Warren Weaver? And Wilbur Schramm, Claude Elwood Shannon, Dean Barnland, Paul Watzalawick. The dates. Okay, I think we can do this one already, right? Okay. For you, which model is most effective and why? Well, let me try to give you my answer. Do you know what's my answer? Try to guess. For me, the best model in here is the transactional model of communication. Why? Of course, I'm not going to give you every answer for this one. I'm just giving you like a hint of what I am going to look for in your answer sheets. Okay? Why transactional model? It's because it emphasized the importance of field of experience in communicating. It allows us to consider the receiver of our message, the level of language that we use when we communicate with people. With that, we are able to become a better communicators. Okay, let's answer B, the crossword puzzle. I think you can do this one. Well, in number 2, down, the source of information or message. I tried to answer this one this morning, and I noticed that there is a box, an excess box for number 2. So you minimize, you lessen 1 box. Yeah, 1 box or 1 box. Right? B, page 14. B, page 14, number 2. Kindly check the source of information or message. The answer there should be sender, right? So, let's count. Sender, S-E-N-D-E-R. Wrong. So, you have to lessen 1 box. C, let's proceed with C. Directions. Read the given situations and fill in the grid below by identifying the elements of communication. Let's try to answer number 1. Rosa instructs her little brother to water the plants in their garden. However, she did not notice that her brother was wearing headphones when she gave instructions. Senders? No. She learned too late that her brother did not do what she told him. Source: Rosa. Message: to water the plants. Receiver: her little brother. Barrier: the earphones. Correct? Let's try to answer number 2. Jerry bought a can of milk from the nearby store, and as it was handed to him, he checked its expiration date. He found out that the product is already expired and reported it to the storekeeper. Message: what? The expiration date of the can of milk. Receiver: Jerry. Feedback: he returned and informed the storekeeper about the expired can of milk. I think you can do number 3 already. Okay, letter D. Write a response to each of the following dialogue prompts to complete the communication process. Gabi: can't you see that grandma crossing the street? She might be hit by the speeding vehicles. Your answer: oh yes, Trisha, let me give her a hand. Something like, what are you going to do then? So what will you say to Gabi or to Trisha after hearing what she said? Next, Rika: hey Reggie, are you going to join the Bible study this afternoon? Reggie: I will ask permission from my mom, from my parents, because it may end late. What will be your response there? Okay, I understand. Something like that. Or you can answer the last one. What I have learned. Answer the following questions. Are you still with me, class? Are you still with me? We're getting there now. We're getting there. We're almost done. Answer the following questions. Number 1. What are the different communication models? The three different communication models are, you know that one already. What sets the communication models different from each other? Oh, so you can explain like, the linear model is considered as a one-way communication model. It doesn't have a feedback. And it is more on the technological aspect of communication. Not face-to-face, but technological aspect of communication. While interactive model of communication, an example of this is Schramm model of communication, wherein they emphasize the presence of feedback in the communication, and it is a circular process of communication. Lastly, we have the transactional model of communication. What do you mean by that one? In transactional model of communication, the role of the sender and receiver is played simultaneously by the two individuals involved in the communication process. Okay? Why is feedback important in communication? Well, personally, my answer to that question would be like, feedback is important to every communication because it is the measure whether the receiver of the message understood what you said. Without feedback, you cannot say that the message you sent was understood unless the feedback was silence. It means like the person may be not interested to talk to you, or maybe like I have to think of it. Okay, let's move on. When is communication process successful? Communication process is successful when there is a feedback. When there's a positive outcome of what you said. When there is a response given. That's my answer to that question. Okay, let's move on. What I can do. Okay. In this part, on page 16 and 17, there are three situations. 1, 2, and 3. I'm not going to ask you to do all these three. I want you to choose one only. What are you going to do? 1, 2, or 3? Choose which task would you like to do. If I were you, I'm going to do number 1. It's easier. It's up to you guys, okay? And then, what are you going to do there in what can I do? Choose one. You're not going to do the 3 tasks. Choose one. Call a friend over phone or via free media platforms such as Messenger. Note down the conversation process. You write the conversation, or you can do screenshot. It's easier, right? And then, identify what communication model is used. Illustrate how the communication happens. Okay? Assessment. Okay, you are going to answer these questions. A, true or false. B, multiple choice. You know what to do with this one already. You are very smart. And 4, the additional activities. Okay, let's focus on this one. List down examples of situation in each of the given communication models. Shannon-Weaver model. Well, we said earlier that Shannon-Weaver model is a one-way process. So it's more on technological aspect of communication, not face-to-face. Example, announcement on TV. A poster announcing the schedule of the distribution of modules. Schramm model. In Schramm model, there is a feedback. So maybe you can cite here an example of conversation. Maybe in the market, in the school, in the canteen. Transactional model of communication, you also do cite conversations that has field of experience in it. Example, both are doctors, both are teachers, both are farmers. Both millennials talking about mobile players, talking about what hero are they going to use. You emphasize there that the two individuals involved in the communication process belong in a particular field of experience. Unlike in Schramm model, it could be diverse. For example, a mother to a child, a teacher to a child for a Schramm model of communication. Are you following? I hope so. B. Write a 10-sentence paragraph in this situation. As a student, if you are to address the nation or the Filipino people in this time of pandemic, what would you tell them? You may post it on your social media account, not compulsory, and see the different reactions you will get. You may clarify points but refrain from building context in the process. Okay, I am not going to ask you to do this, to post it online. What you're going to do is, I want you to post it in our group chat. Okay? And in that one, we are going to see the reaction of your classmates. Okay? Letter C, exchange emails or messages with your friends regarding ECQ experiences and how do you see and feel about it. Tell them how it affects your your life. Maybe you can ask it on Messenger and do screenshot already. How do you feel right now? For example, the question that you want to send to your friend. Hey Anna, how do you feel right now about the quarantine time? And then the response. Then you take a screenshot of it and then send it to our GC. Okay? For letter B. Okay. Maybe some of you are asking, Sir Dave, can you give an example for letter B? What would you want Filipino people to know about this time of pandemic? Okay. For example, I am the student. Let me try to think for a moment. Everybody's affected with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our education system, the government, and every aspect has been doing their best to cope up with the challenges brought by COVID-19. To my fellow Filipinos, let us fight together this battle. Let's be on our knees to pray to God that He will heal our land. Let's help one another by supporting them financially, physically, or spiritually. Together, we heal as one. Maybe like that. Something like that. Okay? Do you have more questions about your... Okay, we're done! We're done for today! Yay! Congratulations! I'm sorry, medyo bangag ako kasi nilalagnat pa ako guys. Pasensya na. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you learned something. Bawi ako next time. Siguro, mas maganda next time kasi hindi na ako nilalagnat next week siguro. Okay? If you have more questions, please do not be hesitant to ask it to me. Okay? So guys, do you want to have a shout out? Comment down below your shout out before we end this video, especially to your classmates who weren't able to join us live today. Comment their names and I will mention them so that they will feel happy after watching this video. Okay, ako muna. I would like to shout out Jansal Natividad, Stevenson Natividad, Lawrence Natividad, Princess Michael, Tita Marian, Mark Paul, Michael, Jen, Dayan, Erika, Herson, MJ, Daryl, Gina. Okay. Shout out, Joyce Pascual. It's me, Happy Virus. Shout out, JCS Geo. Shout out, Pastor Mao. Shout out, AMI family. Angel Salamanca, shout out. Ayan, shout out tayo. Sige na, bang hindi pa tayo natatapos. Shout out tayo dyan. Sir Philip, shout out. Sir Felipe, hello sir, shout out po. If you're gonna be watching this video, shout out po sa inyo. To my mom, to my dad, to my dog, shout out. Sino pa bang gusto ko shout out? Mom Feli. To my fellow teachers in CNSAT, shout out po sa inyo mga ma'am, sir, happy Teachers Day. To all of the teachers out there, let's continue po our dedication to reach out to our students in this time of pandemic. Let us not be weary in doing good, for in due time we will reap the fruits of success if we don't give up. If you like this video, please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe, beginners knows, subscribe, and ilang. Until next time, Mark Angelo Guyo, hello, MJ Carillo, KJ Sagaw, Diane Libranza, Roslyn Gonzalez, sino pa yung mga yan? It's me, happy. Jamaica Valauro, hello Jamaica, She was asking last time dun sa post niya, Sir, mag-charge daw. Pagkain lang yan. If you are tired, kain lang kayo. Look at me right now. Kain ng kain. So, yun. And of course, pray. Shout out, yo, yo, yo. KJ Sagaw, shout out. Oh, na-shout out na kita. Dwight Domingo, shout out. Cherian Badwa, shout out. Mark Jefferson Carillo, sir, pa-shout out. Notify, sir. O, sige, shout out, shout out. Mag-subscribe na kayo sa channel na to. Parang naubos ang dugo ko sa English ngayon natin, Shout out sa inyong lahat. Shout out Ivana Alawi. Hello Ivana, if you're watching this. Shout out sa Ivana Alawi, Mona Alawi, Hasha Alawi, Mama Alawi. Sino pa ba? Kay Crush. Shout out sa'yo, Crush. Kung alam mo kung sino ka. Shout out sa'yo. Okay na. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will end it now. And I need to take a rest. And I forgot to take my medicine pala. Okay, bye! See you again next week. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Pas nyo kapag tapos nyo na. God bless.